Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Montgomery County Council's Thursday, June 15th session. We will begin with a proclamation recognizing Chesapeake Bay Awareness Week. Joining us is, I think, Director Ortiz and Councilmember Rice. County Executive Mark Elrich is not able to join us. Councilmember Rice.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. And I do see that Director Ortiz is joining right now. And so I want to first thank the county executive and Director Ortiz, my good friend who serves with me on the Chesapeake Bay Water Resources and Policy Committee, who is dedicated to environmental stewardship and making sure that the healthiness of the Chesapeake Bay remains a priority for all of us in this region. It is incredibly important. Chesapeake Bay Awareness Week, unfortunately, was last week, June 5th through the 13th. But certainly one in which, because we were on recess, needed to still be honored and lifted up. And I hope that residents not only reap the benefits of the great things of the Chesapeake Bay, whether it's enjoying the oysters or the rockfish or the crabs and all of the great fish that come out of the Chesapeake Bay, all of those things, but also what it means in terms of its role in our environment. The oyster population that now is beginning to thrive again, that helps to filter and clean the bay, that makes our waterways as a whole healthier and cleaner for all kinds of different animals and fauna and flora that are about in the environment, really is a big deal. And it's one that also represents economic development, because when you think about all of the fishermen and watermen that are out there, the female blue crab population has increased, but unfortunately, the juvenile and overall crab population is a little bit below average. So we've got some good and some bad things that are happening, but we can do our part. We banned coal tar, and being stewards of 1,500 miles of streams is incredibly important in making sure that we can have that water that's as clean as possible. Water certainly is incredibly important to us. Great work is being done across the region when it comes to stream cleanups, when it comes to stormwater management efforts, people putting in rain gardens and green roofs and all kinds of things that help to contribute to the healthiness of the Chesapeake Bay. It is a daily obligation, not just one during Chesapeake Bay Awareness Week, but it is a daily obligation that we are stewards of this incredible resource that we have here in this region that is our Chesapeake Bay. And so, Mr. Chair, I want to turn it over to you. Unfortunately, as you addressed, County Executive Elrich isn't able to join us this morning, but I know his commitment and passion and devotion to environmental stewardship as well, and want to turn it over to you as chair of the Council's Transportation, Energy, and Environment Committee.
Thanks so much, Council Member. I obviously agree with everything you've said. Chesapeake Bay Awareness Week is a great annual reminder of all the work we have ahead of us and how far we have come, but how quickly the environmental threats to our bay and the rest of our environment continue to grow. And it's a chance to recommit ourselves to this mission that many of us have been involved in for decades. Maryland has to stay a leader in addressing the threats of the Chesapeake Bay because we are the most important state in the whole watershed, and the other states usually lag our progress, and we have to really lead the fight in protecting our Chesapeake Bay, and frankly, Montgomery County has to lead the Maryland fight. So many of the protections we've passed at the county level have turned into statewide protections. Last year, I sponsored a ban on balloon releases that the council passed unanimously, but then that became statewide legislation that was passed this year in the General Assembly. And there's many other examples like that. This year, the council also, as you all know, updated our existing restrictions on plastic straws and polystyrene food containers with Director Ortiz's hard work, which updated longstanding restrictions we had in place that Councilmember Reamer started many years ago before I even served on the council. And you all know the Bay is not just our most defining feature in Maryland. It's really central to our economy. It's responsible for thousands of jobs. And thanks to the legislation we've passed at the local and state level, the Bay's been making progress, but it continues to have more threats, including the governor's expansion plans for 495 and 270, which have severe stormwater implications that our planning commission has been very, very concerned about, as well as many of our nonprofit environmental groups in the watershed. So we have to keep our eye on that as well. But I want to thank both of you for your long-standing commitment to these issues, and I want to thank all the advocates who fight tirelessly every day to make sure we have a clean and healthy bay. Director Ortiz?
Thank you, Mr. President. It's an honor to be here with all of you again for this commemoration. There's so many people to tip our hat to. Councilman Rice, you and I have been allies on this issue for, I won't date ourselves, but a long time, and Mr. Hucker as well, and Mr. Reamer. You know, so many names I see in front of me on the screen have been leaders, and to make a difference in our environment really is an all hands on deck enterprise. And in the last 40 years, you know, this country has provided more of a focus on clean water and making that a priority in our regulations and our policies. But it really comes to life with the little things that we all do every day. And, you know, some folks watching at home might be like, well, Chesapeake Bay, is that really an Anne Arundel issue? Isn't that, you know, something Annapolis needs to be concerned about? But, you know, the Chesapeake Bay includes every single one of us. It includes our driveways, our sidewalks, everything, because we're all in the Bay watershed. And whether you're close to the Potomac or the Anacostia or the Patuxent, it's all one big watershed, and it's all connected, and it all makes a difference. So all those things matter. As you said, Mr. President, this county has been a leader for a long time, leading the pack on the amount of impervious restoration, on the amount of best management practices to control stormwater, on policy, from the bag tax to the straw ban more recently, and the balloon a release ban. All those things matter, and we still have a lot to do. And all of us are a little frustrated. We're like, well, things aren't going fast enough, and the crabs haven't rebounded like they should, like they did back in the day, and the oysters haven't either. But we are seeing signs of progress, and the councilman is right. We are seeing these signs of progress, and we have to be mindful that we're undoing 4 centuries of devastation to the Bay. And in the few decades we've been working, we've been making a difference, and we still have far to go. So, Mr. President, Mr. Councilman, all the little things matter. I want to encourage everybody. All these little things that we do every day, whether you skip the straw, when you go to a restaurant, bring your reusable bags, make a restaurant, picking up after your pet makes a difference. Please do that. And picking up litter, on your walks or your jogs, all those things add up and make a difference, and continue to provide pressure and feedback to me and my department. I see Frank Dawson, who heads our watershed restoration division. We want your feedback, folks, because we need to be responsive to clean up our environment. So, Mr. President, I'll stop there. Thank you. County Executive Elrich regrets that he couldn't make it today, but I was glad he couldn't, because I'm passionate about this, and I wanted, a chance to get up on my soapbox and celebrate Chesapeake Bay awareness with all of you, my good friends and allies, for a long time. So, thank you.
Right. It's appropriate time for you to be in the spotlight. Director Ortiz, thanks for all your good work, and Mr. Dawson's as well, and everybody at DEP and your whole team. And thanks for the reminder. One of my favorite signs of, I think it's yours, not the parks, but it might be parks, is that there's no poop fairy. You have to factor your dog. I see those all the time when I'm running in the park.
Yeah, we'll take credit for that.
Yeah. Okay. That was clever. Councilman Wright, should I start the proclamation? Do you have it in front of you?
Yep. I'm going to start, and then we're going to go 2 by 2. So, all right. Proclamation, Montgomery County, Maryland. Whereas the Chesapeake Bay Estuary, the nation's largest and 3rd largest in the world, spans across 6 states: Delaware, Maryland, New York, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and West Virginia, and the District of Columbia, serving as a vital environmental, recreational, and an economic resource to the approximately 18 million people who live within its watershed and those who visit the region. And whereas the Chesapeake Bay was targeted as the first estuary in the nation to receive congressional support for restoration and protection, with Montgomery County being one of the first in the nation to implement a stormwater management program in 1972, and
Whereas Montgomery County was Maryland's first jurisdiction to successfully tackle Maryland's ambitious 20% impervious acre restoration requirement and has pursued a comprehensive approach to treat stormwater from impervious acres of roofs, roads, and parking lots by utilizing green, innovative practices that reduce the pollutants in local streams and rivers and help restore the Chesapeake Bay. And whereas all 1,500 miles of streams in Montgomery County flow into the Bay, and joint efforts by local governments and residents have a direct and significant impact on the health of the Bay and on our region's economy and culture. And
whereas Montgomery County, joining other local jurisdictions and organizations, has annually commemorated the first week of June as Chesapeake Bay Awareness Week with events and programming designed to mark the progress, as well as to educate residents on the need to continue efforts critical for the protection and restoration of the Chesapeake Bay. Now, therefore, do we, County Executive Mark Elridge, Tom Hucker, Council President, and myself, hereby proclaim June 5th through 13th as Chesapeake Bay Awareness Week in Montgomery County, and we encourage all residents to recognize the importance of the Chesapeake Bay to our economy, to our environment, and to engage in activities that will help preserve and sustain our county watersheds and the Chesapeake Bay. Congratulations, and thank you to everyone who continues to be a steward for the Chesapeake Bay. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Ortiz. Thank you, Mr. Dawson.
thank you, council member. Thanks to everybody at DEP, Parks, everybody on your team. Very much appreciate all your hard work. Thank you, council member Rice. Well done. Next, we have a proclamation celebrating 75 years of the Kiwanis Club of Bethesda. Amazing. Presented to us by Councilmember Friedson. Take it away.
Thank you, Council President. Appreciate it. We are joined today by Marlena Proctor, the president of the Kiwanis Club of Bethesda, and I know several members of the club also are with us as well. I'm really excited to be celebrating this important milestone. The Kiwanis Club of Bethesda, the oldest club in Montgomery County, was founded during the Second World War in 1945. The 75th anniversary was last year, and like so many celebrations, anniversaries, birthdays, etc., it was delayed by a year due to the unprecedented moment that we were in, perhaps the greatest challenge our country has faced since the Second World War. And just really pleased to be able to honor the club, to thank the members, not just the current members, but all of the members for the past 75 years who have been such an integral part of our community in Bethesda and beyond and throughout Montgomery County. It started out organizing youth basketball and baseball groups, blood drives, and sending veteran care baskets, among other projects, to lift spirits of our community members and local families. The Bethesda Kiwanis continues to lift spirits during these tough times with many projects, including an annual Veterans Day wreath-laying ceremony recognizing our veterans, which I participated in, and providing grants of more than $100,000 each year to local groups, which deal primarily with children throughout the, through the Kiwanis Club Foundation that Bethesda has started and continues to provide, not just with financial support, but even more importantly, with a tremendous amount of time and talent that the members put forward each and every year. I'm so thankful for these members who personify citizenship and local activism and engagement in our community, and all the time, energy, resources that have been provided throughout the decades and up until now to create a more resilient and successful community. I'd love to turn it over before we read the proclamation to Madam President, and if you could introduce some of the members who've joined us as well and say a few words. Take it away.
Hi. Thank you so much, Councilman. I really appreciate being here today. We have a lot of members and also past lieutenant governors and current lieutenant governors on our call today. And I also have some of our board members as well and regular members. Richard Rupek is our current treasurer of our department, of our program, but also current lieutenant governor of the district. We have John Tyner, who is a past lieutenant governor and past also councilman as well too. So he's also a past governor. Seth Steele is going to be our oncoming president, so he's going to be, our club's going to be in great hands. Patsy Jackson is with us today, who is an incredible secretary who we couldn't do anything without. We have Carla, and we have also Joel, both members today. And that's, if I miss somebody, it might be because they're not on my screen. So I apologize for that. But I do want to say on behalf of our amazing Bethesda Kiwanis Club that I would like to thank you for honoring us with this proclamation. We are very happy with all our accomplishments and support to the community in the last 75 years, but even more excited for our bright future of our club to be able to support and help many other organizations. Even during the pandemic, our club worked hard to continue to help many organizations in their time of need. Our Kiwanis Foundation and our club made sure that our 2020 grantees still receive their grant checks to continue their incredible work. Organizations like Bethesda YMCA, Suburban Hospital Foundation, the Rika Association, the Bethesda Cares, the Dwelling Place, Girls on the Run, just to name a few. We recently have funded and volunteered for an organization that was helping provide food for those in need during this time. The Kiwanis Club is very proud of our very own signature project in Germantown, which is the Miracle League Field. This program provides specialized baseball fields for youth and young adults the opportunity to play baseball. It's a rubberized surface that allows players with walkers and wheelchairs to be able to join in the great game of baseball. We welcome all of you on this call to come out in the fall and cheer on our players while they play their baseball. Our club is also very diverse and bigger than just Bethesda and Montgomery County. We are part of the Kiwanis International Organization that continues amazing work throughout the world. Our club has provided over $50,000 alone to support in the international project Eliminate through UNICEF to eliminate prenatal and neonatal tetanus, which we're very proud of. We all welcome you to come join our club and continue our amazing outreach to our local international community by visiting our website at BethesdaKiwanis.com, as we are a global organization of volunteers dedicated to improving the world one child and one community at a time. So that's just a little brief overview. We'd love to see more of you at our meetings. We do Zoom right now, and our Zoom link is current and updated, and we'd love to have you guys on. And any other needs that might be needed in the community that we don't know about, as we've been 75 years of celebrating, we would continue to be able to celebrate the next 75 years, but we need, hands-on people to help us do that. And we want to work to make sure that we're getting the needs met within our community. So you guys are connected more with different people. Please send them to us, and let's talk and see how we can make Montgomery County and the surrounding areas a better place for all of our organizations. Thank you so much. I really appreciate today. It's been an honor to be able to do this as our current president.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. You saw Councilmember Rice hop on to offer his applause, appreciation, and gratitude for the Miracle Baseball efforts, and really demonstrates that the Bethesda Kiwanis Club spans far beyond Bethesda, well across Montgomery County and the region, and frankly, the world, as you were just describing. Now I'll read this proclamation. It's a proclamation of the Montgomery County Council. Whereas the Kiwanis Club of Bethesda was originally organized by 25 friends and was chartered on January 23rd, 1945 to address community needs and lift the spirits of all during a time of great need. And whereas Bethesda Kiwanis has demonstrated their commitment to serving the children of the world with projects such as donating the first iron lung to Suburban Hospital, creating Miracle League Baseball in Montgomery County, and establishing the Bethesda Kiwanis Foundation, which provides grants of more than $100,000 each year to local groups. And whereas the Bethesda Kiwanis Club has recognized and responded to the needs of thousands of youth over the years by teaching service and leadership skills, providing high school scholarships, and supporting summer camps and swim programs. And whereas as the oldest Kiwanis club in Montgomery County, Bethesda Kiwanis is made up of generous, driven, and steadfast members who have and continue to provide stability, reliability, and service to Montgomery County residents. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Montgomery County Council hereby honors Kiwanis Club of Bethesda for 75 years of service, and be it further resolved that the County Council recognizes Kiwanis Club of Bethesda's dedication to providing solutions to the local and global needs of children and communities. Presented on this 15th day of June in the year 2021 by myself, your District 1 council member, and our council president, Tom Hucker. Congratulations and thank you with our deepest gratitude.
Thank you so much, Councilman. Thank you, President. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. Thank you all. Next, we will have a proclamation honoring our beloved Dr. Pollard. All of our campaign to get her to change her mind has apparently failed, and we're honoring Dr. Pollard, the president of Montgomery College, by the Education and Culture Committee. Chairman Rice.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President, and Dr. Pollard. I'm going to try and see if I can get through this. Let me just start off by telling a story. And it's a story that just recently happened, but it's indicative out of all the stories that I could tell about my interactions with Dr. Pollard, the incredible, amazing things. Folks are going to laugh when I tell this story, but there's actually a reason why. So we were just at the Pride flag raising ceremony, and Dr. Pollard was standing there at the podium giving her remarks. And of course, we're in the midst of cicada season, and this cicada decides to land itself right on the side of Dr. Pollard's head. And I'm standing there looking as though, what should I do? Should I try and flick it off? But I don't want to distract her. I don't want to interrupt her remarks. So I decide to be polite, and I go up there and I gently flick it off, and it flies back onto her shoulder. I'm like, geez, this cicada is determined. So I go up, step up again, and I flick it off of her shoulder. Now, all of this time, Dr. Pollard has been continuing with her remarks. And just in something that only Dr. Pollard could do, paused, turned to me and said, "Thank you very much, Councilmember Rice. I always knew you had my back," and went right back into her remarks. It's indicative of who Dr. Pollard is, and regardless of any kind of thing that tries to throw her off, remains focused on the mission. Never swayed from what she was trying to do and accomplish for this community, for the students of Montgomery College, for people who she knew were marginalized, who had a bad hand dealt to them, sometimes by no fault of their own, and who just wanted to see them succeed. And did it with such grace, with such distinction and honor, such fortitude. It is not easy to be the leader of a large community institution that rivals four-year institutions in terms of size. It is a lot of work. It is challenging. It means sacrifice for herself, for her family, for her son. But she still, every single day, led with that same dedication, that same commitment to making sure that she could make a difference. And I know that it was instilled in her by her upbringing, and is something that says so much, because I know that she most recently lost her father. But whenever I hear people say lost, it makes it seem as though the connection's not there anymore. Her dad and what he instilled in her will always be there, and it made her the great leader that she is today. And so while I understand that for many in our community, we see this as a loss, I see this as a gain, because any place that can benefit from the greatness that is Dr. Darian Pollard will help to spread throughout this world and make this world a better place. I really do feel that way. That is not just because we are here today honoring you. I feel as though you have a gift to give to this world. And by you doing that wherever it is, whether it's at Montgomery College or whether it's in Nevada, it doesn't matter. The reality is that you're still giving. And that we should be thankful for. I just want to close with one thing. On behalf of my family, my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law, who both matriculated through Montgomery College, and for all of the people whose lives you have changed and set on a different trajectory because of the commitment to them, I thank you. I salute you, I honor you, and I tell you that we are blessed to have known you. Let me turn it over to my colleagues, starting with Councilmember Jordan.
Thank you, Councilmember Rice. This is a day that I think all of us were not looking forward to, the official, saying goodbye for now from Montgomery County. But, as Councilmember Rice said, I mean, we have been, and I mean we in the most broadest terms, this county, this state, each of us individually and collectively have been really blessed and fortunate to have you as long as we did. I've said it in other forums, but I want to remind people 11 years for a community college president, for any college president, is an extremely long time, and particularly for a community college president. And not just, you just weren't treading water. You were, taking steps, making innovations. I was with you just earlier last week. You're coming out, you're going out guns a-blazing, and forgive the analogy, but you are not just kind of biding your time. You've been working all the way through this last budget and through this COVID year, and it's just a testament to your work ethic, your care, your concern for this community. I know you and your partner, you have raised your son in this community. It will always be a huge part of all of your lives, and so we're just thankful. We're sad but thankful, and you are going to be bringing a wealth of experience and knowledge. I've often said it, you've built up what I believe, and I know many of us, all of us believe, is, if not the best, in the top tier of of community colleges in the nation. That's your legacy here, and it is one that we will strive to keep up for the benefit of our students and our community. And just really thankful for it. Nevada's gain, our loss is their gain. You're going to continue to make history as the first permanent African-American woman president of a college in their system, in their state system, as you made history here. And so it's just fitting that we would take the time. As I said, I alluded to this a couple weeks ago. I will bring up a couple things just quickly. A lot of people don't know about Dr. Pollard. Her college, her master's thesis was called Terry McMillan, Pop Icon or Brilliant Storyteller. And I wanted to bring that up because it's connected to something that I love about you. You have exemplified for your students and for us in elected office and public officials how to be fully who you are, and not put that aside, and also be fully excellent in your work. I think oftentimes there's a lie that says you have to conform to some sort of mold, and you've been fully who you are in every interaction. And it's given, I know many of us, and I'm sure your students, license and confidence to do the same. And for those who don't know, Terry McMillan wrote Waiting to Exhale and How Stella Got Her Groove Back, and some great, and the fact that you were right about that in your master's thesis, I just thought was pretty cool and people would want to know. But you just thank you. I just want to thank you. We're going to miss you. Hopefully you'll come back and visit us, but thank you for what you've done. You've left us in great hands, and the college is in well positioned to help us navigate out of this crisis, thanks to your leadership. So thank you so much. Love you.
Councilmember Navarro.
Thank you so much. I think that my companions here are going to be going to rooms soon because they're going to start barking really loud because they always wait until it's time for me to make remarks, and that's the real bark. But that's just to break the ice, because I do want to share, starting off with just some, personal reflections. I want to thank you because you came to the county. I think I had just been elected to the county council. I've only been there for like 6 months. And the very first thing I recognized in your leadership style was something that was very important to me, which was to be authentic, to come to these positions fully and be present fully, knowing that for all that we always talked about Montgomery County being so extraordinarily diverse and so inclusive, the reality is that many of us were breaking ground, right? As women of color, we were breaking ground. And so there's a responsibility that comes from that. And when you're just starting out, you're trying to kind of get yourself situated and understand the awesome responsibility of what that means. And so I felt so fortunate that that you had begun your tenure, because it was a way to find a kindred spirit in many ways, and to watch you from afar, and to really, be able to admire and appreciate the way that you had set the tone for your leadership for this extraordinarily important institution. And so every time I think about you as a visionary executive, which is very hard to find. Either people are really good at vision or they're really good at executing, but it's so hard to be a visionary executive. So I think of you as somebody who has embodied the inclusive concept of leadership. You model that. And you kind of had to, because Montgomery County, as it stands, it's 78% students of color. And so to be able to stay true to that kind of, institutional culture while navigating the extraordinary mosaic that is Montgomery County in all aspects, you had to be able to model that type of inclusive leadership. And it was always rooted in the spirit of abundance and generosity. That was the first thing I recognized in you. That, when we had the most difficult budgets, right through a recession, I was actually surprised when you came and said, I recognize we're going through difficult times. I understand what the numbers say. I know where we're headed, and therefore I will be your partner. Which wasn't the case for other situations in other institutions. And that right there just really gave me comfort, because it was kind of like, okay, we're in this together. We're going to get out of this together. This is so critical for the future of our county. And so I think about you as somebody who is leaving a legacy that has shifted the paradigm. That has shifted the paradigm now to this concept that, when you expand opportunities, you can create excellence along the way. And that's what you've done for so many people. You have proven that it is possible to expand opportunities and to, along the way, secure excellence no matter what. And so that is something that I hope now has become the status quo here in Montgomery County. That's what shifting the paradigm means. It means that now whoever your predecessor is going to have to be somebody that understands that this is our norm, that here in this beautiful place full of just extraordinary people with so many different stories, that we can be that model. And now when you go to Nevada, of course, you will take that same spirit. But I truly, truly am so grateful that you've left this gift here in Montgomery County, because as we recover from COVID-19, as we experience everything that we experienced in 2020, I keep saying that I hope we keep those lessons close to our hearts, that I hope we don't forget everything that occurred. And in honor of all of that sacrifice, that we have to do better. And so you've left the blueprint. And I just think it's amazing and extraordinary that you've done it consistently. You never had to, change who you were or try to adapt you were authentic all the way through. And education is important, but I think for the students that you have, let through this institution, that is probably the most important gift that they take with them from now on. So thank you very much. Muchísimas gracias. And I do hope I get to visit you in Nevada or something like that. I've never been, so maybe I'll get to do that. But thank you, and thanks to your family who, they're amazing as well. I know that you couldn't have done what you've done without them. And so I thank them as well for sharing you and for everything, everything really. And we'll be watching you carefully to see what other amazing things you will do. Thank you.
Mr. President, I also wanted to give an opportunity, and I certainly understand that all of us have had a great opportunity in working with Dr. Pollard, and I see all of our colleagues are on the call at this moment. So I did want to, starting with you, sir, give an opportunity for folks to just say briefly, and I know we have another proclamation, but did just want to give an opportunity because this is such an important position, and Dr. Pollard has impacted so many of us, whether it's districts, whether it's education, economic development, whatever the case may be. She's had such a huge role. I want to give an opportunity for everyone to be able to say something if they'd like to, sir. So start with you.
Sure. Thank you, Chairman. Dr. Pollard, I know we've spoke about this, and I was there for this Takeda incident, and appreciated once again your focus and determination to get through that minor challenge and so many others during your tenure. I greatly appreciate all your leadership, all your innovation. You've completely remade the position and remade the college, and we'll never meet all the students whose lives are changed and who go on to fabulous careers, and all because of your hard work. And that's the mark of a great transformative leader. So I'm very grateful as a council member and council president, but particularly for the students of the East County in my district. So many in Tacoma Park have benefited from your leadership. We're looking forward to the Isaiah and Catherine Leggett building that we've all been advocating for so many years. But to be able to work with you on the feasibility study to get that in last year's budget, and now to have the vote of the Board of Trustees under your leadership to begin looking at a fourth campus, starting with a center, hopefully in East County, and be working with your staff to identify a site for that, is going to not just transform the college, it's going to transform our county and the East County in particular, where our students need career pathways to living wage jobs, and they have three times the pre-COVID, they had 3 times the unemployment rate of the rest of the county, and you've stepped in and you're providing a long-term solution to that. So I've been honored to work with you on that and so many other initiatives, and I wish you all the best in the future. Thank you so much.
Vice President Albornoz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well said by everybody on the committee. You guys nailed it. Dr. Pollard, you are just such a rock star. We're going to miss you so tremendously. All of us are in thousands of meetings over the course of a year, and every time I happen to be in a meeting with you, whenever you would speak, I would stop, I would listen, and I would try my best to absorb all of your words, because every time you spoke, as Councilmember Navarro said, there was a spirit of authenticity. And you have this unique ability to be able to connect dots in ways that many can't. But you don't just have the ability to connect them, you have the ability to authentically bring coalitions of people together to get us all moving in one direction. And that is a skill that is in short supply right now, that we desperately need. And so you will be missed, but you have done just an absolutely extraordinary job. And as you know, and as I like to say, my parents met at Montgomery College, so I owe my life to it. It's a very special institution in our family, and we could not have been more proud, including my mom and dad, in your leadership these years. So big shoes to fill, and look forward to working with you in the future as well. Thanks so much. Job well done.
Councilmember Friedson.
Thank you so much. I am so happy that we have an opportunity to say how we feel and our affection and appreciation for you, Dr. Pollard. I'm sad that we're saying it because it means that you are moving on, and we wish you all the best. I'm with Council Vice President Albornoz. I found myself every time I was in a meeting with you listening a little bit harder and paying a little bit more attention, because I knew there would be a nugget of wisdom, but also scrambling for a pen and paper because I knew that you would say something that I would want to repeat, because you always have so many pearls of wisdom that you share. It really has just been an honor to be able to serve with you. Montgomery College is so much more than just a community college, as important as a community college is in a community. And you have been so much more than a president to that institution, playing so many roles in our county, in our community, both formally and informally. And I was talking with my team about the shoes to fill your position, and we decided that it was more like a Cinderella slipper than big shoes that couldn't be filled, that we might have to go all around the country and all around the county trying to find somebody who could quite fit all of the different crevices of a slipper that you've somehow managed with such poise and such power to be able to demonstrate, and doing so in a transformational time and doing so in a trailblazing fashion. And that will be forever remembered in our county. The lasting impact that you have had on generations of students will continue to be felt. There will be a lot of seeds that continue to blossom in Montgomery County, a lot of shade that many of us will be appreciated by the trees that you've planted. And so I just want to thank you for everything that you've done. Appreciate your friendship, appreciate your leadership. We wish you absolutely all the best on a personal level, but as a collective county leadership, we are wondering how we're going to find somebody who could fill all the different roles that you took on with the college and well beyond in our county and in our region. So thank you so much, and look forward to seeing everything that you do in your new role.
Councilmember Glass.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Dr. Pollard, listening to all my colleagues, as we have been meeting with you and praising you, rightfully so, over the last few weeks, your influence and leadership is so appreciated and has been felt, I think, not only inside the college and the 3 campuses, but clearly outside and across not only the 500 square miles of Montgomery County, but the entire region. And now you're going across the country. And what I appreciate most about you is your unreserved and open and honest conversations in any space. You are you, and you are a blackout proud woman. And I so appreciate you. And I know so many other people appreciate you as well, because your adult life has been about opening hearts and minds to education, to opportunity, to career channels, and to civil rights. And so the people of Nevada don't know what's coming. The Board of Trustees out there might, but the students and the population out there should look forward to your leadership, not only educational, but moral leadership as well. And so for you and your wife and that dude you live with, safe travels to Nevada, and your legacy will be long felt here in Montgomery County. So thank you, my friend.
Councilmember Katz.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Dr. Pollard, so much has already been said, and I certainly associate myself with every one of their remarks. I do think it should be noted that it was mentioned that you don't like cicadas. It's my understanding, now there again, I haven't done a scientific research, it's my understanding that Nevada has many more cicadas than we do. So if you'd like to reconsider, I have a feeling that there would be unanimous support to have you reconsider. You know, public service, we do many things that are important to the public, that are important to people. But I think none of our what we do is as important as when you change a life and you save a life and you make a positive change for that person. And you certainly have done that prior to Montgomery College, certainly during your tenure with Montgomery College. And I, as a person, I attended Montgomery College a few years ago, and it certainly does do all of the things that we wanted it to do all of these years. And you certainly have taken a great place and made it greater. And so, you know, candidly, it saddens us to see you go. It really does. I mean, we're all emotional about this, but in that other breath, I mean, for the greater good, you're going to be saving lives in other places other than Montgomery County. We're going to take credit for it. I mean, what you're doing is certainly what you're doing, but we're going to say, you know what, we were with her all along, and we're certainly with you all along again. So thank you, and we look forward. And I have been to Nevada, and I'm not a gambler, but maybe I'll be convinced to come back and visit again. We're going to miss you that much. So thank you, Dr. Pollard. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councilmember Reamer.
Thank you. I hope if I'm not spoiling the uniform professional presentation by being in my car here, but I'm doing double duty as a parent, as I know Dr. Pollard has throughout her tenure here. I'll just add that for me, Dr. Pollard, you have really defined in such a helpful way the character of Montgomery County. I think there are certain iconic personalities who people in the community look to for a sense of identity about who we are and how we think about the future and what our vision is, and who's coming together to achieve that. And you've been that person for me, and I think you've been that person for a lot of this county. And I'm really grateful to you for it. You've really, I think, in some ways, mentored this county through a time of real change and possibilities, endless possibilities, and progression. So we will miss you, but we're proud of you, and we salute you and wish you the best. Thank you, Dr. Pollard.
So, Dr. Pollard, before we begin the proclamation, I just wanted to share with you one thing. And I don't mean to make you cry, but this one may. So last July, I reached out to you about a young man who was considering going to McDaniel College, who was trying to matriculate into Rutgers, and was working with his mom in terms of what the best route to be would be for him. And I remember because it was late. I think it was a Friday. It was about like 5-something in the afternoon. And you were actually at a restaurant. And I texted you and I said, hey, I'm really stuck. This young man reached out. He went to Gaithersburg High School, went through the Brothers program, and so was reaching out because he knew that I was chair of the Education and Culture Committee, and asked me for help and advice. He and his mother weren't sure about what the best thing to do was. I reached out to you immediately and said, hey, what do you think? What do you think the best options for this young man are, to give him recommendations on how he could be successful? We came up to the conclusion, after you had done some thinking about it, and said that the best thing for him was to go to MC because it would position him well from a grade perspective, as well as a number of the scholarships that they would be able to leverage to be able to then go on to Rutgers, which was his dream school. I just want to share with you that he reached out to me not too long ago and told me about his success at Montgomery College, about how he had gotten all A's and B's and was on a pathway in order to be able to attend Rutgers University. It's one of thousands, if not tens of thousands of examples of how you've changed the trajectory of people and set them on a pathway for success. That is what you have done, and you should know that your legacy will remain strong long after you've left and gone to Nevada. So I salute you, and again, thank you for everything that you've done. Colleagues on the Education and Culture Committee, let's go ahead and begin with the proclamation. Whereas Dr. Darian Pollard has served as the president of Montgomery College since 2010 with a distinguished tenure that has elevated and strengthened the college through innovative partnerships that prioritize the inclusion and lifting up all students by fostering equity and access and success. She revised developmental education, emphasized homegrown talent and workforce development, and implemented an unprecedented educational partnership at the Bioscience Education Center in Germantown with the co-location of Holy Cross Germantown Hospital at the Hercules Pinckney Life Sciences Park. And
as Dr. Pollard inspired and continues to inspire those around her to strive in their achievements for both themselves and those in their community, while addressing racial inequities, by speaking truth to power, because words matter, by pioneering the idea of radical inclusion, and creating the President's Advisory Committee on Equity and Inclusion in 2017 before it became a national discussion. And
Whereas Dr. Pollard supported Dreamers at Montgomery College by being the first to offer in-state tuition, reveling in gloriously diverse student body who were at promise and reflective of our community. She envisioned the expansion of global partnerships as well as intentional alliances to include the Achieving Collegiate Excellence and Success Program, Community Engagement Centers, and the Presidential Scholars Program. And
whereas Dr. Pollard led with grace, gratitude, kindness, courage, and clarity through a worldwide pandemic, meeting the immediate needs of the college community. An inspirational and thoughtful leader with a deep commitment for stronger and more just community. For more than a decade, she taught us the value of community colleges as the most transformative institutions that empower students to change the trajectory of their lives. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland hereby extends best wishes as she begins her next adventure to Dr. Darian Pollard, and be it further resolved that we share our deepest gratitude for the valuable and enduring impact she has made on the students and residents of Montgomery County, Maryland, presented this 15th day of June in the year 2021, signed by members of the Education and Culture Committee, myself, Councilmember Duando, Councilmember Navarro, and of course by our council president. Dr. Pollard, congratulations. Madame, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you all so much. I've told somebody that I'm perpetually dehydrated over the last couple of weeks as I have this goodbye. And I have to tell you, this is deeply meaningful to me in so many levels. I'll be brief because I know you have an agenda, but I want to thank this council and the Education Committee because I get to spend a lot of time with you, and you all have given me a model, an image of what real service is like and what legislative potency can be when used in ways to advance the community. I'm so grateful that I got to have relationships with each of you, and also got to see what it meant to actually lead in a community and lead with your values. I'm grateful to the Board of Trustees of Montgomery College for at that time seeing something in me that thought that I would be a worthy leader of this organization. I'm oftentimes attributed, and I loved listening to the work that we've accomplished at the college over the last 11 years. And oftentimes it's attributed to me, but it's not. What I often tell people is if I do my job well, I give a vision and I get out of the way and let people begin to do that work. And the faculty and staff of Montgomery College are by far some of the most exceptional human beings that I've had the pleasure of working with alongside. And it's been an honor to work with them. In fact, my senior leadership team and I were in a retreat literally right now preparing for this year because they believe so deeply in what this college's commitment should be to its community. To the students of Montgomery College, oh my gosh, I loved, you all know that the best part of my job is getting to interact with them and to hear their stories and to understand why Montgomery College exists for them. And I'm hopeful that you all will continue to support their stories, to give them space and residence in the history of this county, because they are truly some of the, they're not just the future of Montgomery County, they're the present, they're the past, all in one spot. And it's an honor to have been able to advocate and support them. I'm grateful for my family. I love the fact that so many of you know that the thing that's most important to me in life are these people that I get to do this journey with, a wife who's loved me and supported this craziness for 31 years. And is still somewhat resentful of the fact that she's packing right now. But I know for a fact that she's always said she would never stand in the way of whatever I was doing. And to that dude that we live with, as many of you know, he is truly a Montgomery County boy. And that's a whole nother story. And grateful that he lived in this county and grew up here. And then finally, I almost was through that. I thought a lot about this. I said, Montgomery County owes me nothing. This is a beloved community for me. I learned that budgets reflect values, and this council did that over and over and over again. I learned that this county and this community believe that education is singularly one of the most important things that can be done. You can't have economic development or workforce development. You can't have a safety net if you don't invest in education. That is something I learned from this community. I learned that a government must privilege both its safety net and also privilege the way that brings revenue to that safety net. I've seen you do that, and I thank you for that. But most of all, what has prepared me, and I will tell you very clearly, to go to Nevada and lead Nevada State College, has been this lesson that I've learned from this community and this council, that the dignity and the quality of life that we treat people with matters most. So thank you for those lessons. Thank you for being home for me and my family. Thank you for letting me be a part of this truly transformative community. And this is home, because as Miles told me, he said, Mama, we're coming back for Thanksgiving. We're going home for Thanksgiving. So that dude that we live with will always see Montgomery County as home. I will always have a part of myself in this home. And I also know for a fact, and thank you all for mentioning it earlier, my father, he loved Montgomery County. Every time he was here, he got up in the morning and he watched NCTV. He watched Montgomery County media. Even at home, some of the last messages I got from him and said, what's this about? Oh, I like how they made this decision. And I thought, well, at least we knew we had one person watching all of these things, because my father watched all of this and was thinking about how he could relocate to Montgomery County. So thank you so much. It has been an honor, and I hope I've served you well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pollard. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mr. President, back to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, and all colleagues. Thank you so much, Dr. Pollard. We wish you all the best. You're right, Chairman Rice, there are 4, I can't count now. We'll commemorate Juneteenth, the day of celebrating the emancipation of all those who had been enslaved in the United States. Councilmember Jawanda.
All right. Thank you. Pull myself together here. We love you, Dr. Pollard. And I've asked Councilmember Rice to join me for this as well. And I'll try to be brief because I know we have to move on. And we have Director Stowe, Jim Stowe from our Human Rights Commission is here as well. Juneteenth, for those who don't know, is the oldest nationally celebrated commemoration of slavery ending in the United States. And it's really a celebration of the African-American family, of the resilience of African-Americans, Black people on this continent, and of achievement, despite really difficult circumstances. It's also a celebration of our nation's continuing march towards freedom and equality for all, a journey that we're still on. Our last conversation is a perfect segue into this one. The irony is that while it commemorates the end of slavery, it also highlights the fact that there was a 2-year delay in the news of freedom reaching those enslaved African Americans in Texas. It's a reminder that even when we pass laws, when we take action, that vigilance and enforcement is required to make sure that the protections and benefits that these laws and decrees provide are secured for all people. Juneteenth celebrations started as early as 1866, the year after the Civil War ended in Texas. And by 1872, a mere 7 years after slavery, a group of African-American ministers and businessmen in Houston purchased 10 acres of land and created Emancipation Park to be used to hold the city's annual Juneteenth celebration. Today, Montgomery County and Maryland and over 47 states in the District of Columbia celebrate Juneteenth with festivities occurring across the nation. Director Stowe will tell you about our celebration that we have coming up this weekend. And it's celebrated in backyards with parties. And of course, food is an integral element of those celebrations. It reminds us, Juneteenth, of the challenges that newly freed men and women faced in a society that considered them personal property just a few years before. And being free, not being able to fully enjoy those benefits and opportunities, it created the disparities and the wealth gap and that have been passed down through our generation, which we have seen again in a stark and dramatic fashion in this latest set of pandemics. So we know that we have much work to do. Juneteenth is a celebration, but it's also a reminder that we press on. And it's a reminder that as Americans, we can all celebrate of all races and creeds what our history is and how we are continuing work in progress. So I hope everyone joins us this Saturday to celebrate. I want to turn it to first to Councilmember Rice, and then we'll go to Director Stowe and we'll read the proclamation. Councilmember Rice.
Well, thank you very much, Councilmember Jawando. And I'm going to be brief. I want to reference something that many of us just saw that is incredibly disturbing. Here in our own state, in Ocean City, Maryland, where the Maryland Association of Counties is about to hold its annual conference, we've seen 2 instances of young people of color, young Black men that have been abused by police. And it says something because although freedom was written into paper, the reality is that unfortunately for many Black people, freedom is still not there. We still face persecution. We still face discrimination. We still face challenges solely because of the color of our skin. Has nothing to do with our upbringing, the amount of money in our pockets, how we talk, how we act. The reality is that we see people treated differently. And in the District of Columbia, right here in the Washington metropolitan area, a young woman was dragged down the steps by her hair. These are the kinds of things that, again, continue to this day. And so at a time in which we celebrate the emancipation, the reality is that we still are not free. We still are not free from persecution. We still are not free from all of the challenges that our ancestors continue to fight against and lift us up from. And so there's still more work to be done. So while we celebrate the accomplishments that we have, we also are also committed to making sure that we continue to make changes. And I really want to thank each and every one of my colleagues on this council and our county executive and members of the community who remain committed to making change, to making sure that just because I look different from some of my other colleagues does not mean that I should be treated any differently. And the reality is that we will get there. We, I believe, will get there based on the great work that we've seen from many of our folks who have dedicated themselves, and we stand on their shoulders, but we still haven't been able to get across that fence. But we will get there. We will. Working together, continuing to speak out against those injustices that still remain, and call out those who refuse to acknowledge the fact that things still need to change. So I really want to thank everyone again for all of their great work and continuing to uplift this holiday to make sure that folks understand why this is important, why this matters, why Black Lives Matter, why it is that we need to continue to say those words and commit ourselves to what it means, which is that we continue to defy the stereotypes that just because people may have darker skin does not mean that their lives don't matter just as much as anyone else's. I turn it back to you, sir, Councilmember Jawando and Director Stowe.
Thank you, Councilmember Rice. Free, but not totally free. That's the dilemma that those of us who have been twice touched by the sun and many others in this community have to deal with every day. I appreciate you giving voice to that. Director Stowe, please make a brief remarks. Are you there, sir? You're on mute. There you go.
There we go. I'm so sorry. Thanks so much, and good morning to all of you. Councilman Jawando, thank you so much for raising this proclamation this morning and all the kind of things you've said. I appreciate so much both of you being you and also Councilman Craig, students of our community and students of history, because it's so important that we learn and understand that. Very quickly, I know that we have time as upon us, but I just real quickly want to read something to you. And this is the actual General Order number 3 that Union General Gordon Granger delivered. The people of Texas, back in June 19, 1865, Galveston, Texas, the people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection heretofore existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor. This is the part we don't read very often. They are advised to remain at their present homes and work for wages. They are informed that they will not be allowed to collect at military posts and that they will not be supported in idleness either, there or elsewhere. So again, free, but not free. However, in Montgomery County, we will not be deterred. We're going to lift up all the things that are positive in this community, and we're so glad that the great diversity that exists here. And on this coming Saturday, we're going to be celebrating that here in Montgomery County. We're going to be celebrating those of us who happen to be from different parts of the world, having had our very essence from the continent of Africa. But here in the United States, here in Montgomery County, have pledged to work together to make a much better Montgomery County. So on this coming Saturday, folks, I've sent you a lot of stuff, so I apologize for loading up your emails with all the materials. But I want you to be informed, know what's going on. We're so thankful again for Black Rock Center for the Arts, Lynn Arts, and the Up County Regional Service Center, and of course to our mayor up there, Mayor Kathy Matthews. We're so sorry to see her go as well. The Arts on the Block will be involved with us. Montgomery County Library involved. Slave Museum out of Sandy Springs will be involved as well, and our Buffalo Soldiers. So we're going to have an entire day for the community starting at 10 a.m. And so we want all people to come out. It'll be our first event without restrictions here in the county. And so we want you to come out and be a part of it. And there's going to be this whole idea that during the course of the entire time, we're going to educate and immerse you into the Black experience here in the county. So from documentaries to an idea we're calling the Trail of Knowledge, where we'll be teaching our young people about Juneteenth and the importance of it, thanks to our library putting that piece together for us. We've got two brothers coming in who have over 4,000 books that they're going to be able to give to persons that come and celebrate along with us. And so it's going to be critically important as well. And I must tell you quickly about this lineup in terms of entertainment. We're going to have with us, and by the way, I'm going to say, Councilmember Jawando, I'm going to be calling you a little bit later on, but I need you to kind of give your voice to our AXO program, who will be giving, again, a performance there during the course of the day. Also, we've got a group who will be coming from a Caribbean perspective, Pan Lara, talking about steel drums and the importance of that particular part of our culture. African drums will also be there as well to signal in the significance of that, again, connection for many of us. And then we've got Broadway on the U, Black Broadway on the U. We'll be looking again at the lives of Pearl Bailey and Ella Fitzgerald. And then at 7 o'clock, we'll have then classic Voices of Soul. For those of us who may remember this, by the way, the Temptations and Four Tops, those folks. And then end our evening with, again, Chelsea Green, the Chelsea Green Project. One of the persons who here in resident at, again, Strathmore, as it turns out. So one of our own, as it were, who's doing great things across the artistic world, she will round out our evening on entertainment. At 5 o'clock will be a very important event that we've been having now for our 6th year here in the county, is our African American Living Legends, where we again paying tribute to our elder community who have, over their lifetimes, contributed so much to the betterment of our community. So this year, we're honoring Dr. Elwood Gray, Miss Willie King, Reverend Dr. Sterling King Jr., Mr. John Macklin, and Dr. Hercules Pinckney, speaking again at Montgomery College. So at any rate, there's a lot going on. We want to come out and be a part of that. That starts at 5 o'clock in the main theater. We'll finish our evening on the main theater with the movie Harriet, again, the lifetimes of Harriet Tubman. So a full evening to get you involved. I should also mention, for those of us who need a little extra help on figuring out our steps of the day, we're going to have dance classes. We're going to have yoga out there also on the yard as well, in front of the Black Rock Center for the Arts. Come out, be a part of this. Don't just talk about your involvement in this community. Come out and be a part of this community. Saturday from 10 until 10 p.m. I've already given you all a list of all the activities, so please share that with your constituents that are out there and be a part of this. Thank you very much, Councilman Gerando.
Thank you, Director Stowe, and for the millions watching at home, and you let them know. We read the proclamation real quick. Councilman Rice and I will go back and forth. I just want to say that people often think, okay, well, we don't have these issues in Maryland, or this isn't it. Councilman Rice brought up the issue in Ocean City. When emancipation happened, it was supposed to free all the enslaved individuals in the Confederate states, and the states who were not in the union, who were in the union, could choose what they were to do. And there were two states that chose to keep slaves throughout the Civil War. They were Maryland and Missouri. And I think I look at Councilmember Navarro, her history with that state. And it's just an important reminder that, we are not separated from this. This is part of our history as well. So,
Councilman Gerando, one thing real quick, if I'm so sorry to interrupt you, sir. I must say this. We're also doing a pop-up on vaccinations.
Very important.
I will make sure I say that. It's critically important that we get our folks vaccinated, and we still are lagging behind a little bit in our Black communities. And so we want to make real sure that our brown communities, Black and brown communities, as it were, and all persons, by the way, who have an opportunity then to come and get a vaccination, they can do so at Juneteenth as well.
Very important. Thank you for making that point. All right, here we go. Whereas the Montgomery County Council, whereas the Emancipation Proclamation issued by President Abraham Lincoln legally freed enslaved individuals in 1863, but many slaveholders in Texas continued to hold their slaves, and as I said, in other states, captive for 2.5 years after the announcement. And
whereas General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas on June 19, 1865, and announced the end of the Civil War and the end of slavery. There were still 250,000 enslaved people in Texas at that time. That day became known as Juneteenth, a symbolic date representing African American freedom. And
whereas in 1980, Texas became the first state to make Juneteenth an official state holiday. Juneteenth is a day that everyone can use to learn more about freedom for all in the fight for equality and the struggle to end racial injustice. And
whereas slavery set the foundation for hundreds of years of systemic racism, financial inequity, and health disparities for African Americans in the United States. While Juneteenth was a day of victory primarily for those who were still enslaved in Texas, it also amplifies the injustices that kept those who legally had been free for 2.5 years from actually being free. And
whereas African Americans in this country continue to fight to end racism and its impacts, Juneteenth becomes even more important. Every American, regardless of race, needs to understand and celebrate Juneteenth if we truly want to continue to break the bonds of racism. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland, hereby recognizes and celebrates June 19th as Juneteenth, and be it further resolved that the County Council calls for all Montgomery County residents to do the same, presented this day on the 15th of June, the year 2021, signed by myself and Councilmember Rice and our council president on behalf of the entire council. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilmember Gerando. Well done. Councilmember Rice and Director Stowe, we will not be deterred. Indeed. Thank you. Well done. We'll see you on Saturday. Next, we can move on to general business. Madam Clerk, would you mind sharing announcements, agenda changes, or petitions?
Good morning, Mr. President. We do not have any announcements or petitions this morning.
Okay, thank you. The clerk has distributed the minutes to council members for the meetings of March 2nd, 4th, 8th, 9th, 11th, and 12th, 2021. Are there any changes? Hearing no objection, the minutes are approved as submitted. Now we can sit as the Board of Health. Dr. Gales and Dr. Stoddard, are we ready to begin?
Good morning, Council
Dr.
President Hucker. Dr. Gales is not available today. He's taking a much needed day off, and he asked me to present the COVID-19 vaccine update to Council. So thank you again for the opportunity, but let me just back up and say congratulations, Dr. Pollard. They say first impressions are lasting impressions, and I had the opportunity of meeting you twice, and that first impression has been a lasting impression. So with that said and further delay, I will share my screen and provide the COVID update to Council sitting as a Board of Health. DHHS and Public Health Service continue to monitor hospital data for surveillance. We currently have a very low rate of transmission. Our cases for today, we've had 6 cases over the past 2 weeks. We've seen or experienced 7 to 11 cases, which indicates that there is a low rate of transmission. I will repeatedly say throughout this presentation that all those individuals who are hesitant or have been unvaccinated, the county still presents a highly robust vaccination program. We are continuously moving towards more community level, more niche and pop-up opportunities. And so those opportunities still exist and will continue to exist as we combat and respond and recover to COVID-19. Our test positivity is 0.45 and our case rate is 0.95. We continue to be one of the lowest counties in the state of Maryland, where our data, our cases have plateaued. Again, this is a 7-day average percent positivity rate. This is our new case rate, and as you see, the data plateaued at 0.95. The case rates will fluctuate between 1 to 2 cases a day. Today is 6 cases, but as I indicated, over the past 2 weeks, our average has been under 1 case per day, and we continue to monitor and surveil the data, hospital data, specifically for any variant strains that are out there. I know there's been a lot of discussion around the Alpha variant, the B17 or the UK variant, and more recently, the Delta variant, which is the B1672 Indian variant. We haven't seen any cases or any increases in our hospitalization or individuals presenting at the emergency room for COVID-like symptoms, flu-like symptoms, and there have been little to no indication of any cardiorespiratory distress from our adolescent populations who have received their vaccine. So that's very good news, and we continue to monitor not only the variants, but the transmission of the variants in the community, but the hospitalization and hospital rates as we continue to increase our number of cases that our percentage of individuals who we are vaccinated. So looking at the data this morning for Montgomery County, we vaccinated at least 65% of our residents. The state data indicates that 57% have received at least both doses or a single J&J. However, CDC has us at a higher rate. The benchmarking relative to other counties, we still have the highest population to receive at least 1 dose, or population fully vaccinated. And of note, CDC ranks Montgomery County #1 nationwide for 12 plus populations vaccinated among all U.S. counties that have greater than 300,000 residents. Currently, our percentage of 12 plus population sits at 74.6%, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Again, this is indicative of our effort based on our community partners, our hospitals, our pharmacies, our groceries, and all of our partners who've supported our testing and vaccination rate. Montgomery County sits at #1 nationwide and #4 for those individuals individuals who are 65 plus, and that rate is 90.2%. So we have made some significant strides, not only in our testing platform, but our vaccination platform. And we continue to respond to the demand as such with our community level testing. And I'd like to personally and professionally thank our community partners, specifically our public schools and independent school systems, for supporting our efforts. We were able to quickly shift and vaccinate that community, and it's indicative of the data that I am presenting this morning. And of course, throughout the past 15 to 16 months, we have used data and science to lead the way. And so again, as we look at the demand, and the demand is starting to decrease. We experience about 10,000 doses a week, and now we're starting to see a reduction in that demand. We continue to look at strategically at those ways. I know Reverend Stowe indicated that there would be a vaccination pod at this weekend's Juneteenth event. There's also a vaccination pod next week, next Sunday, June 27th, I believe, at Pride in the Plaza. And for those individuals who are listening this morning or reviewing this presentation to the Board of Health, for those community partners and municipalities who are interested in hosting a vaccine pod for their community events as we continue to recover, please visit our website. There's a link in the right corner box that says suggest a site. You can fill out that information, or you can also send an email to C19 Vaccinations at Montgomery County, Maryland, and our public health emergency response team here will respond and host the community pop-up. We continue to work with our minority health initiative partners who have been just so significant in reaching those communities. So by track, you see on the left side of the screen, right side may be facing you, those areas where we've seen low turnout or percentage of vaccination. And so we are, again, focusing our strategy on those prioritized zip codes, census tract, and community input. And lastly, those vaccination of county residents private provider, 50% of our vaccines have been provided by Montgomery County community level DHS sites. And we continue to work along in partnership with Emergency Management and Homeland Security to respond to the needs of our mass vac sites. Those are the major points that I'd like to share this morning. There is a community school-based vaccination clinic scheduled to tomorrow from 12 to 7 at Paint Branch High School. Again, we continue to monitor all of the data, hospital data, demand data, community level demand data, and look at strategic ways that we can address any hesitancy that we have in the community. I'll stop now and subject to any additional questions. Thank you.
Good morning. I just have a few additional updates. I think we're all pleased to be having this conversation under the circumstances of how much we progress as a community. I want to first off start off by thanking both the county executive and the county council and their doppelgangers, the Board of Health, for all of the support that we've gotten throughout the pandemic. And it's a pleasure to serve and work in a community where the leaders do follow the science and the recommendations of their appointed or hired professionals to do some of these things. So I just want to start off by recognizing that we wouldn't be here if not for the efforts of our elected officials in supporting trying to get to the endpoints. A couple things I want to talk about. So we've gotten some questions about the Germantown site. Obviously, that site remains open. We're going to convene again on Thursday to discuss what the volume has been like over the last couple weeks. I think there are clinics scheduled at least through the 19th at this point, and then we'll reevaluate. I expect clinics will be still scheduled after the 19th, but for how long, we're going to make it probably a determination this Thursday and see, what the drawdown will look like based on the volume that over the last 2 weeks. And that's what we followed that process throughout, and we'll continue to do so with all the clinics. We got some more info. Looks like both Pfizer and Moderna are expecting vaccinations from 5 to 11 to be submitted for FDA approval
sometime in the early fall. I'd speculate that's probably the second half of August, early September for those submissions, and then we'll have that cohort of individuals to begin vaccinating based on that data. We are obviously focusing a lot more effort on our recovery as response sort of begins to draw down a bit. And as Dr. Bridges alluded to, we'll continue to be available to do vaccinations and testing and all those things that we've been doing. But obviously, we recognize the need to ramp back up some of our recovery efforts as more things have reopened. We've seen, lots of questions about reopening, but also the reconstitution of our county work sites. So obviously this week we had permitting services open for in-person services at the Wheaton office. We've had 8 additional libraries open. The rest will open the first week of July. North Potomac and White Oak Recreation Centers are beginning senior programming, I believe, today. And then obviously Margaret Schweinhurt will begin programming on Saturday, and many others will come on board over the next couple weeks. We've had a shift in our alcohol beverage service store hours on Sundays, and so we're just seeing more and more progressive. Anyone who's been out there in the community can see that the community is opening up, and there's a sense of hope that I have not felt in Montgomery County in some time, and I think it's palpable, and we're making real progress. We know that the governor is talking today. We have no idea what he's going to say. I could speculate here, but I don't, it would just be guesses if we did. And the last thing I did want to, actually 2 more things I want to note. On Friday, we did a economic town hall focusing on women in the workplace. That's one thing we've heard a lot about, is obviously there's been disproportionate impacts in many areas in our community. But one of the economic impacts that we've seen is a lot of women have left the workforce as a result of the fact that they've disproportionately borne the burden of in-home schooling, in-home childcare, things of that nature. And so that's one of the issues, among many other, that we're going to be looking at in our recovery framework. We are going to rework our recovery framework in light of some of the things that we've learned over the last year. And so I would anticipate that you all will be hearing from us about some of the changes that we've made, different work groups that we've created, merged some things together, some lessons learned that are already being applied. We will be doing an after-action report for our response portion of the event. We've already begun to collect all of those things. I would be the first to tell you that there are things that if we knew what we knew now, we would have likely done differently a year ago or 8 months ago. And I think we have a responsibility to our residents to make sure that we record those things for posterity so that we make better decisions in the future. And so that I'll knock on wood now, that if some future generation has to face an event like this, which hopefully we could be avoided, even if they do, we want to make sure that they have the benefit of the knowledge that we've acquired through some some blood, sweat, and tears, and all the things in between over the last 15 months. And the last thing I will note is, if you saw yesterday, the American Medical Association reported that 96% of practicing physicians have been vaccinated. This is my encouragement to anyone who has been thus far on the fence about getting vaccinated. Talk to your medical provider. You go to them for recommendations about your health all the time. They've deemed, with all the information that they have, that the vaccines are safe and effective. And so obviously we follow their advice on many other medical issues, and I would encourage you to do so in this circumstance as well. So you don't have to take my word for it, but do talk to whomever you go to for your health care, because odds are they've chosen to be vaccinated, and they would encourage you to do so as well. I will stop there.
Thank you so much, Dr. Stoddard and Dr. Bridgers. Thanks to all of you for all the hard work, you and your team and our community partners for bringing us all this progress. These slides continue to be very just great to look at, given what we've been through in the last year. And I'm always grateful anytime any of our experts can use the word doppelganger in official briefing. This week, I was glad to tour Novavax, and very happy to see 800 new jobs that they're planning to bring to Gaithersburg, and grateful to the city of Gaithersburg for their smart land use decision on that property, and glad to hear the news yesterday about the effectiveness of the Novavax vaccine against the variants. Dr. Stoddard or Dr. Bridgers, could you let me know what is the percentage of each racial and ethnic group in terms of vaccination between the ages of 12 and 18?
Council President Hooker. Let me see if I can pull that slide up again.
Thank you.
And so these are the data that I have between 0 to 16. We have a slightly lower percentage, but we're moving on a progressive pace to vaccinate all those individuals who are 12 plus eligible. And looking at the CDC data, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm specific and targeted and present you with the data that you're requesting for us. Right now, I'm seeing based on CDC, in comparison for the 12 plus, we have 74.6%. If there's something else specific to that, I would have to circle back and follow up with those specific numbers. But as the data that I have here,
right,
it doesn't provide that level of detail or breakout.
It was my understanding that that was reported with Pulse, but I'm interested. If you could share the data after the briefing, that would be great. And can you comment on any equity gaps that you're seeing among Asian, white, and black and brown children between 12 and 15 or 12 and 18?
And so what we've done, each time we've had a vaccination clinic at one of the high schools or one of the area, our team has provided some of the data points, and in collaboration with Montgomery County Public Schools and our independent school systems. And I'm trying to find a specific slide that we have where our data team has kind of looked at some of the gaps, and I apologize. But
Dr. Bridges, I have a slightly dated version, but I'll share it so you can show exactly what I think. I think I have the slide that you're looking
okay.
For. I think it's this one, right?
Right, that's correct. That's correct.
If you want to talk to it, go ahead, Dr. Bridges.
And so what we're seeing is a relative reduction in the gap. There's still some disparities and targeted gaps. Hispanic residents have reached a near convergence, but we still need to increase our vaccination strategies in our Black and brown communities. We're working with our Minority Health Initiative partners and our vaccination partners to reach out and provide those niche and pop-up opportunities there. So this data represents that the gap is starting to narrow between those communities. Now, the age gaps we're seeing similarly in those communities. One of the things that we talk about, and Council President Hooker, we've had conversations about providing opportunities to individuals along transportation routes to create greater access. And so we're looking at those now. We also are soliciting input and feedback from our minority testing partners and vaccination partners to allow us to prioritize and identify those strategies. So the gap is narrowing. There still needs to be more, but this is indicative of the data points that you asked. Hispanic residents have reached near convergence. And I won't read the message box, but this is pretty much how we're starting to address those equity gaps and identify those frameworks. The previous slide that I indicated from the data points and the geo mapping and all those areas where we've seen 35% and less of individuals being vaccinated, be it up county, mid county, lower county, east county. We're targeting our vaccination strategies in those areas so that we not only vaccinate those 12 plus populations, but those populations where we are seeing some gaps between 18 to 40-year-olds, individuals who are still hesitant. So we're working with our comms team to identify messaging and strategies. And I believe in the conversation and the press conference that we had yesterday, where we've had a contest where students from NCPS have presented ideas for vaccine strategies that will allow us to address and assess and reduce any further gaps. I hope that answers your question.
It does. Thank you. And if you're able to pull out the 12 to 15 or 12 to 18 data later, I'd appreciate that. I'd be really interested in seeing that. You touched on this. Are there plans to continue vaccine clinics at schools over the summer?
Currently, the plan is on demand. We will continue to host those vaccine clinics. We have second dose clinics coming up, and we have weekly conversations with MCPS. We've also are looking at and working with our Rex department to see if there's any pop-ups or pods that we can host at camps. But the goal right now is to continue that. We are assessing our demand rates and where we should go and target our vaccine strategies. And so as we even work with MCPS to reopen school in the fall, we're looking at those vaccine strategies that will also include the 12 plus, but as Dr. Starter indicated, those individuals who may fall in the 5 to 11 category with Pfizer, with the Pfizer vaccine being going through their clinical trials, or any other pharmaceuticals or vaccine companies who may come online. So we're working not only to address those issues, but one of the other questions that came up is the booster. If there's a booster, and Dr. Stoddard and Dr. Gales and I talked about that, the strategy for that is as we continue to look at demand and scale back our operations and provide those clinics, our community partners will be paramount. Our doctors' offices, our primary care physicians, as Dr. Starr indicated, will be paramount into similar to a flu vaccine to provide those boosters. And so we're looking at all these strategies and putting them in place and assessing the most effective strategy to meet the targets and the demand of the community.
The one other comment I would add to that is, in addition to the pop-up clinics, I do know that we've had conversations about utilizing the school-based health centers where we typically do the return to school vaccinations. Obviously, COVID vaccine aside, we want to make sure that everyone has their appropriate vaccinations going into the next school year. Some people, because of the nature of the last fall, that may have been a gap that existed. I don't know the numbers on that, but obviously that'll be a major focus. And having COVID vaccine at those sites to catch people who are coming in for their other vaccination opportunities is going to be important. So it's sort of going to be a layered approach to try and have as many opportunities throughout the community as possible. And also, we know pediatricians are increasingly getting vaccine available to them in their respective offices. And so obviously that is it's sort of a make it as easy as possible to have vaccine available for young people and candidly adults as well.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I appreciate all that. And as you know, everybody has a school cluster. Not everyone has a doctor, but it's great that more doctors are having doses available. And we've talked, and Dr. Bridgers mentioned the importance of being on transit routes. There are so many schools, elementary schools, middle schools with school-based health centers, including the one where my kids go to, Rolling Terrace, in those orange zip codes that you just showed us on the map, that everybody in the community knows how to walk to or bike to. And we've invested in not enough, but many sidewalks to get people there safely. So I really would encourage you to use that, vigorously over the summer, and I'll continue to talk to you about it offline. But I really think those are important community resources that are trusted and that people know how to reach and are accessible to people that aren't privileged enough to have a car. Can I just ask one last question about our census teams and whether they're still doing door-to-door canvassing and what they're learning on the ground regarding hesitancy?
They have been still doing work. They have not suspended their work. And I think what we're learning is, and I think the data reflects this, is that particularly amongst our Latino community, we've seen a huge reduction in the hesitancy. But the focus has been in younger Black and African American population. And I know that the AAHP has been focused heavily on trying to get into more of those. And I think, as Director Stowe referred to during the proclamation earlier, trying to link to more community-based activities like the Juneteenth celebration are a great way to try and get and encourage addressing that really last remaining big gap that we have, young Black and African American persons. There is a little bit, I will say the data that you saw there was 12 to 64. And as you stratify by age, I would imagine, and we'll share this data for 12 to 18, there are still some gaps in the Hispanic community as well that we'll be looking to address. But those have come down much more significantly, much more rapidly than the gaps in the Black and African American population. And so I think obviously that's just going to be an area of emphasis over the next several months to try and close those gaps all the way and candidly just get as many people vaccinated as possible.
And so just to add to that, Dr. Stoddard hit a key point that jogged my memory. We've had multiple conversations about our homebound individuals, and specifically looking in communities of color, we are looking towards our minority testing partners, specifically African American Health Program, who will collaborate and support and identify individuals in communities in African American community who have not had a chance to get out and who don't have access, and through their partnership or collaboration with one of their vendors, Ready Care, we're looking at identifying any additional homebound individuals. We've looked at Food and Families and all those various agencies that have supported homebound vaccinations, but we are again looking through the equity lens to see if there's any gaps in access that we're doing. So our minority testing partners and vaccination partners have been very instrumental. Council President Huckabee, you talked about the census team, but our minority health partners have been very informative and providing us access points to where we have actual or perceived gaps. So we may look at data and may see that there are gaps, but as they say, where the rubber meets the road, we have a better intelligence gathering, information gathering system through these networks. And so we're looking at that as well to address any additional gaps that we don't see any in the data.
Terrific. Thank you so much. Council Vice President Albornoz.
Thank you, Mr. President. And, just as you said, it really is remarkable how far we've come, but obviously still have a little bit of ways to go. I want to start. My first few notes here are regarding data collection, which I know has been challenging since the beginning of the pandemic. Obviously, the state is in the best position to be able to collect general data because we don't have any way of collecting data from the pharmacies and some of the private sector entities that have been providing vaccinations. And obviously, we don't have direct control over the data that's collected at the state mass vaccination sites. And so although we can collect our own data, it doesn't really provide the complete picture. And there's also been the ongoing struggle of, we wanted to simplify the registration process to make it easier and streamline people to be able to come through. But one of the downsides of making the registration process as simple as we made it is it didn't give us the opportunity to dive as deeply as I think we would have liked on some of this data collection, which is really going to help inform future issues moving forward. So not really a question so much as a comment, but I guess I'd like to request that as we do our deep dive moving forward, Dr. Stoddard, that we be especially intentional about figuring out better ways moving forward of data collection, because even now, although we have sort of general aggregate data that describes minority populations, it does not go nearly deep enough to put us in a position to be able to more directly serve our community. Hispanic is such a wide category, and African American and Black is such a wide category, and it just does not do our communities justice. And that is also very much true in our Asian community as well. And I think that more granular data, I think, is going to be critical. And if we can't do that in-house, I think it would be wise for us to invest in seeing if we can hire a firm or somebody that can help us both in our analyzing what's transpired this last year and then applying lessons learned moving forward, and then getting to those communities, as we've said, most importantly, that we still haven't been able to fully reach in the way that we need to, as great as the numbers are across the board overall. So I think those are going to be important points. I did just have two questions. One is, Dr. Bridgers or Dr. Stoddard, if you could talk briefly and explain for parents whose children are under the age of 12, have obviously not yet been vaccinated, what guidance would you give those families with regards to mask use more specifically? This is obviously an ongoing struggle and issue. Outdoors, I think, is fairly straightforward. Studies have shown conclusively that things are safe. But if you could provide just some guidance indoors for families, particularly for kids under the age of 12, I'd appreciate it.
So thank you, Council Vice President Albornoz. I'll let Dr. Starter speak to more of the mask strategies, but what I'd like to talk to and offer advice to our school-age parents. We are starting to recover from COVID. And as we recover from COVID, our children want to be socially interactive. They want to embrace, and they want to touch, and they want to play. And we're starting to also, as we look at the data, to see if there are any cold-like or flu-like symptoms. We haven't seen a lot of the rhinovirus in the community or colds, but we still need to be vigilant. We still need to wash our hands. We still need to, practice social distancing and look at those spaces, especially indoors, where we are as far as masks. Dr. Krall mentioned that as we recover from COVID, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, that it's a natural phenomenon that we want to personally wear our masks, because that's just where we've been the past 15 months. And so what I would say to parents is, as our children begin to interact and indoors, one of the key points that we've limited any transmission or any viruses over the past month is due to hand washing, those public health practices that we've put in place, and those measures that have made significant strides. We've seen it in the data. And so from all of the surveillance data that I see and CDC data and the American General Public Health, is that's one key indicator as we continue to recover and open back up. We still need to employ those public health practices. And so that's the advice that I would offer, and any additional advice that Dr. Started. But before I just want to respond to your question, your comment about data. For individuals in the community who've received a survey or been requested to participate in our community health needs assessment, that's where we really get a lot of robust information regarding our community level data. And so through our Healthy Montgomery program and through our community health needs assessment, we really need individuals to participate in those focus groups and let us hear your voices and understand where those public health risks are, or just risk in general, or just challenges about health, community level health, that we would not normally hear in a focus group or in a community setting or in a survey, but through real communication and information sharing and lessons learned. So I'll stop there and ask Dr. Starter to add any additional input about our masks and any advice to our parents.
Sure. So obviously, I actually have 2 young ones, 7 and 11. So this is something we're dealing with in our household, and I think has caused me to at least look at what's out there. The American Association of Pediatrics has a really good article that I think summarizes pretty well where this should be, and as you described, Council Vice President Albornoz, I think outdoors largely, I don't require my children to wear face coverings while they're playing outside, even with other children. And largely, I think that's a reasonable stance to take. Indoors, obviously, depending, if it's only family members who I have confidence have been vaccinated, then they don't have to wear face coverings in those settings. But if they're playing with, a large number of other children indoors, or with families who I don't know personally, and I can't vouch for whether they've been vaccinated or not, I require my kids to wear face coverings. When we're either going to a restaurant indoors, retail inside, all those things, they're still wearing face coverings indoors, and I think that's generally what we'll likely practice, at least for a while longer. Hopefully, obviously, as kids become vaccinated more and as the ages for vaccination expand, I know MCPS has already opined on the potential need for face coverings in the fall. I'm hopeful that maybe with vaccination expansion that may not necessarily become necessary, but obviously they have to proceed with the current environment, not knowing what the fall is going to be like, because we're all speculating on when vaccines are going to become available. And so I think this is going to be a shifting dynamic over the next 6 months or so. And, hopefully we can, get to a point where it's not required for any population. But I think in the interim, face coverings indoors when you're around people of unknown or diverse vaccination status.
Thank you. I'll just end on a personal note. So my 13-year-old got her second shot almost 2 weeks ago. It's hard to believe. I have a teenager now, but really excited. And so she's 13, so she's going to be able to start babysitting this summer. She's actively telling parents who she's babysitting for, of course, that she's been fully vaccinated, and that has increased business for her. So thank you all so much. Appreciate your leadership, and I yield back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Council Member Novato.
Thank you, Mr. President. So first, heartfelt thank you to this team, Dr. Gales, Dr. Starr, Dr. Bridgers. It does feel a little bit surreal to be having these types of conversations. I've often said to folks that, you know, human beings, we are hardly ever used to having to sustain such high level of stress and anxiety. And we've been doing that for the past 15 months, both on personal levels, but also this sense of an awesome responsibility to do what's right to protect our residents. And so I think that being led by all of you has been extraordinary, as well as everyone who has worked so hard, all, you know, without, as I always say, a manual, and somehow we were able to come together even through disagreement. So I appreciate that very, very much. I enjoyed the conversation about the collection of data. It was something that I had written down and hope that we can address, because every time we ask about the numbers, it is difficult if we're not able to break down also the data collection by ethnicity, because it is hard, I think, to think that we have an accurate snapshot if we're not including ethnicity and breaking it down even further. Plus, it doesn't then help us when we are getting now to this point of what you call the niche areas. This is going to be so critically important. But the other question I had was just a little bit about sort of the strategy about the recovery. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, during our Government Operations and Fiscal Policy Committee, we discussed we had a briefing on the issue of access to broadband and the money that's coming from the federal government, the state as well, and trying to figure out, the best ways, strategies to do the outreach to make sure people know that there are going to be some assistance in this space. And so, of course, really connecting this type of outreach to all of the infrastructure that we have, like the hubs, like the school system, activities that may be happening in the community. And so I was just curious about what is now the sort of part 2 conversation about recovery, and piggybacking on all of these different activities that departments and agencies are engaged in as vehicles to disseminate the information, to do the outreach and engagement. Are you guys doing that proactively? You mentioned, we mentioned Juneteenth. We know there's going to be the Summer of Peace. There are a lot of activities happening right away. And so I'm wondering how that is all being leveraged in order for us to reach those particular areas. It is very difficult to just think that people are going to respond to surveys or are going to actively come. We got to go in there, and we're already doing that through some other departmental activities and agencies. So just curious about how that is being adapted or tailored now that we're getting to this sort of point of going into the niche areas.
Yeah, so appreciate the question, Council Member. It's a great question. We have obviously had a recovery framework for almost a year at this point, but what we're doing is actually taking what we've learned over the last year and recognizing that the next 6 months are likely very different from what the previous 12 months have been. And so we're actually modifying that framework to shuttle some of the things that we no longer are important on, adding some things on, and modifying some other things to describe as you described. And so we are meeting on a regular basis, multidisciplinary. So we have mission areas, as you well know, and each of the mission area team leads is meeting on a monthly basis. Obviously, we know this is going to be a long haul type effort. I will tell you that the last 6 weeks or so have been very challenging to balance the, getting people comfortable coming back in with, really kickstarting this recovery for the public. And so there are things that are, farther along than others, as one might be able to understand. But this is exactly the kind of thing that we're focused on, is these multidisciplinary efforts. And one thing as an example, one of our realizations is the continuum in our education sector, for example, between childcare all the way through education up to Montgomery College, USG, and others. And what we've recognized is that there really is this, we've had rec and libraries almost be treated a little bit separately from education, when in reality, they're all part of serving the same general population, and we need a better vehicle to have communication and coordination between those entities, so that not only we're talking about education loss, but we're talking about loss of socialization. We've seen a lot of conflicts, with just adults and children, because people have not been socializing for the last 15 months in the way that they would have. Even if you were going to an in-school education experience, you likely weren't engaging in some of the same activities and playing together in the same way that you were a year ago. So everyone across the entire community is suffering from the same sorts of things. And we're talking a lot more about focusing and aggregating some of these efforts. Broadband is a great example, as you said. We know we've got a work group in our government operations and services mission area that is focused on broadband, but obviously having a mission area-wide conversation with other partners in government services, and then bringing up through the missionary team leads, everyone working together in a larger umbrella. So I expect you're going to see a fair number of changes in the recovery framework. Candidly, we brought in a handful of supporting contractors and others who have some experience in this area, and we're not letting them go in the short term, because we know there's so much of this work that still needs to be done. I know that we talk about the end of the viral transmission. I've always said it was sort of a phase, but it is not the end of the event. And I certainly think that we're going to be doing a lot, not just within the agencies, but also with our nonprofit partners and other collaborative partners, to address some of these issues. And I would look forward to giving you some additional briefings in future on the recovery framework itself and other things that we are doing to get more into detail, because we could be here a while if we want to talk through all the things that we're doing in the recovery framework over the next several months. It's going to be challenging, because obviously people are looking to get back to what things were before, but we've got to keep them involved, because there's just been so many impacts to our community and to our employees, our governments writ large. Different demographic populations have been disproportionately impacted. We've got so much work to do, but obviously balancing that with this restarting of all the things that we consider normal is a challenge in the short term.
Thank you for that. I do hope that we find some time to get a robust briefing. I've often, thought about how difficult it was for us to make the decision to shut things down, but then really having that realization that, oh man, like the reopening is going to be even more complicated because things have changed. And so being able to do that, no doubt, I think has become, for me, I think it seems like it's a lot more challenging. The last thing I'll say is that I know that the budget, we did enhance, the capacity of some of the communications office, created a translation unit and things like that. And so it would be awesome if there were particular, folks within those spaces that were assigned the job of scanning, all of the activities that may be taking place through rec or, celebrations and things like that. And just making sure that somebody's flagging that in order to have these types of, whether there are vaccination opportunities or just information gathering or engagement, because it is a big task. There's a lot going on, but to the extent that maybe there could be somebody tasked of just scanning that and doing that and facilitating that, that way we take advantage of every single opportunity that is out there, particularly as we're focusing on these zip codes or, these areas where we know we need to continue to send the message and continue to provide supports. But yes, if we can find time, Mr. President, at some point, I think it would be great to get a presentation on just where we are, the snapshot in time of where we are with the recovery efforts. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Like that idea. Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Urjuando.
Thank you, Mr. President. One of the great things about being on this council is if you go in the middle or the end, a lot of things you wanted to ask or suggest have been done. I totally associate myself with the comments of Councilmember Navarro and with Albornoz, Vice President Albornoz, about getting that deeper level of data, but also understanding, kind of the ins and outs of the recovery in a better way. I know you're busy at work, Dr. Stoddard. And so one of the things I did want to mention just specifically, you mentioned the women in the recovery. During the pandemic, I don't know, almost a year ago now, but maybe 9 months, my office hosted a big conversation about this topic, about how the pandemic was hitting women particularly hard. We had that job loss in December of 2020, where 147,000 jobs were lost. It was all by women. And just as a really stark example of how deep this goes, it touches so many issues. I had asked OLO to work on a report around the employment issue and women leaving the workforce. They are wrapping that up. That will come out this summer. I think there's some coordination we can do with your office as part of the recovery to talk about that. And I think, to Councilmember Albornoz and to all my colleagues, I think it will warrant either a joint session or some sort of follow up from the full council at a minimum, HHS and Fed, to Councilmember Reamer as well, to discuss these issues in the report. So I'm just wanted to flag that and suggest that to my colleagues, the chairs of those committees. Really excited about the news. Every day, I used to not want to look at Dr. Gale's emails about how many cases there were. Now I'm eager. Every morning I get up, I open. It's the second thing I do. First thing I try to do is open my Bible app, but the second thing I do is I look at this and look at how many cases there are, and it's been really a joy to see, and it's a testament to all the great work that you all have done collectively. I've seen a lot of people bragging about they're number one in the nation. Could you just restate what we're number one in the nation on as far as vaccinations? Because I want to make sure we all get that right, because I think it's a testament to the work.
So, Councilmember Jawando, just to piggyback on that, the second thing that I open up is my Bible app, but the first thing is I open up is Dr. Gale's emails, and he responded this morning at 5:27. He's like, "Man, you're up way too early looking at the number and the data." But let me just reemphasize that among all of the U.S. counties with greater than 3,000 residents, Montgomery County ranks number one nationwide for the percentage of 12 plus population vaccinated, and number 4 for the percentage of 65 plus vaccinated.
And the percentage of 12 plus vaccinated is, as of today?
As of today is 74.6%.
Almost
65. Exactly. And for 65 plus years of age, it's 90.2%.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, I appreciate that. As I said, a lot of my questions will be asked, but just wanted to flag that point. Thank you for all the work you're doing, and look forward to following up on these items. Thank you, Mr. President.
You bet. Thank you, Councilmember Reamer.
Thank you very much. It was suggested that Dr. Gales is getting some downtime, but he's emailing us right now with more reports and numbers. So we appreciate that very much. I don't know if you're out there, Dr. Gales, but appreciate your work. Wanted to ask about a couple different things. Could you please, Dr. Bridgers, show us the map with the zip codes that had the kind of green to orange and red slide? You know what I mean? Yeah. Thank you. I just, I'm sure we all noted the concentration along the county border, and I didn't quite see that level of vaccination could be 30%, as low as 30%. Can you talk a bit more about what that number means? Help us interpret what we're seeing here. I mean, it's pockets throughout the county, but it does seem concentrated as well. And of course, if I'm understanding it correctly, that there are zip codes or tracks. These are tracks. These are not zip codes. There's tracks that have 30%. That's a real recipe for continued transmission in a localized way. So can you just talk to us about what you're seeing there in this data?
Sure. Thank you, Councilmember Reamer, for your question. And so what we're looking at here is by census tract, by Immunet data, by the various data points that we see that there is a need for increased vaccination on our East County border. We've been working, Dr. Gales has been working with the health officer in Prince George's County to look at those areas, those zip codes that border Prince George's and Montgomery County to increase vaccination, whether to address any hesitancy, whether or not to address any cultural challenges as we see here. We've been working with the Maryland Department of Health, and we've been working with FEMA to identify those mobile vaccination units and deploy those mobile vaccination units to these counties. So hopefully over the next couple of weeks, as we get deeper into this area, you will see this area change from light green to dark green. There was an event that was scheduled in partnership in Langley Park with Prince George's County, but that didn't materialize. And so we had to take a step back and look at those areas. But what you're seeing here is a need. We've been working with our East County Regional Hub Director, Mr. Bantu, to look at those increasing more vaccines and hosting more pods in East County. Our unit is also, our Public Health and Emergency Response Unit and our EPI unit is also looking at those particular areas. We've been communicating with our minority health testing partners to look at those niche opportunities, those pop-up opportunities in those areas. But plainly put, this is an area of the county that there's a need. In all of those areas where we see 30% or around 30% or less, we're targeting those strategies. One of the things that we're addressing is based on demand, where those demands are. And so we're strategically looking at pods in Up County, Mid County, and Lower County, but specifically in Lower County toward East County. So that's the interpretation of the data that we have based on Immunet, based on those vaccines that we have in the system.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Bridges. Just to really also, what is the data? Is this an estimate of the number of people who live in that tract?
Yes, that's an estimate. That's correct.
Compared to the actual number of vaccinations, and then that's how you get this, rate of vaccination?
That's correct. And what we're seeing in Immunet of those individuals who haven't been vaccinated or those individuals where we're seeing lower vaccination turnout.
I would only add that we're using Immunet data for this slide, but there are 60,111 people that are not reflected in Immunet because they've been vaccinated either outside the state of Maryland or through other opportunities. And one might postulate those people are disproportionately going to live closer to our out-of-state borders, like closer to Virginia, closer to DC, et cetera. And so we don't know where those 60,111 people would fall zip code wise on this chart and how that might affect some of the colorations as well. And so that's one of our challenges, is that the CDC data doesn't have the same zip code level of data as we collect in the state of Maryland. And so it's becomes a little harder to know exactly how bad is bad, I guess you could say.
And it seems safe to, well, it appears that is the middle 50% there? Like, is it safe to say that those orange-ish areas are less than 50% essentially of the total population, or is it the eligible population?
I would say the data eligible population.
Eligible, okay. All right, well, thank you. It does seem like, I know you're aware, it does seem like we've got to throw more effort at those neighborhoods and, specific residential communities, buildings, and work through partners, to get into there. So, I think it would, I don't know if you've already sent this or are already sending this, but perhaps you could, I'll direct this maybe to Dr. Stoddard as much as to Dr. Bridgers, but could you send us a list of what the next set of activities are, what clinics are going to be happening there and so forth over the next 3 months, just so we can get a sense of that. And, so that kind of gets into another question I have, which is, how can I heard you say that if you are a community organization and you have a location that you think would be a good location for a site that presumably the county would administer, you can go to our website and you can recommend that location. What if you are a community organization and you want to be more, you want to do more than that. You want to knock on doors. You want to get people in. You want to host a clinic. You actually have your own capabilities. Like how do those community leaders essentially come to you? Is it just going directly to you, Dr. Bridgers and Dr. Stoddard, and Dr. Kroll, or how does that happen?
Well, thank you for that question, Council Member Raymer. They can also on the county's website, they can suggest a site, or if they're interested in either supporting or volunteering or sharing information with our team inclusive, they can send an email to C19 vaccinations at montgomerycountymaryland.gov, and with that email is active, and we respond to community input and information, as well as those links are still active on the website. This morning, I went through and met with the team prior to sitting in front of the Board of Health and went through those links just to make sure that they were still functional so that we can reach out and address those various areas that you identified on that map to solicit input and support from the community.
Okay. Well, I hope that we have resources to support or to fund, community partners to do more and more and more of this work. I think as we are in this difficult stage of the campaign, where it's far beyond making them available. It's about meeting people where they are. That we have the adequate resources to make sure that we can accomplish that. And I do think schools, are, as Council Member Hucker said, schools are a trusted institution where people know that they can engage regardless of, any other status or concern that they may have. So using those locations is probably a wise approach. And
If
then,
I may, Councilmember, I just want, I don't think we didn't mention this before. Actually, it started last week, so it skipped my mind. Is Proyecto Salud is actually doing a collaboration where they're doing vaccinations in Westfield Wheaton Mall. And so looking at the schedule now, they started that last week, but they'll be there tomorrow and Thursday. Mary Center's got open vaccination appointments. We're doing, Caseman Clinic, trying to really get into the Adventist campus.
I drove past this morning when I was in my car, as everyone saw, I drove past the clinic at the Adventist campus.
Yep. So we're really trying to really hit that portion of the county very heavily, because we know that's where our biggest gaps are. And so really trying to make, looking at, we don't have a schedule for the next 3 months because we typically don't schedule that far out because we're trying to be nimble and give 1 to 2 weeks lead time. But looking at the schedule, at least through the middle of next week, there are 12 different locations all in the down county that I can count right in front of me.
Well, thank you. I mean, it does seem to me like we would benefit from a now kind of like a comprehensive strategy going forward, where it's about partly who's coming to us, and it's partly, hey, we've got to fund CASA to get on, hit or impact, or the vaccine hunters, like get on the doors, go talk to people, let's get those doses administered. Okay, last comment I wanted to make. I do think that the return to services is still slow. I was trying to understand in my mind, why are the liquor stores open and the libraries are closed? And I suppose it's due to the contract. Different contracts mean different provisions. But I just think that we've got to do more there, to continue having rec centers, that aren't open. I've heard very emotional, positive feedback from people who've been able to get into a senior center and start to reclaim the life, that they have had. But I just continue to be concerned we're not not open enough, and our county employees have all been vaccinated or been offered the chance to be vaccinated. So I frankly don't know why everyone can't be back unless the facility is used, for another use now, and it's just not open. That I understand. But other than that, it seems to me we ought to be back. So, I'd like to see us moving faster there. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Glass.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I appreciate the line of questioning and the comments by Councilmember Reamer just now. I was looking at that map as well earlier in the presentation, and unfortunately, it's very similar to a lot of the maps that we've been looking at throughout this pandemic, and again, the same heat maps that we look at whenever we talk about some of the inequities that exist in our community. And so the efforts that we need to do to double down and work with our community partners and others to make sure that those areas in the north central part of the county and along the eastern part of the county are more fully vaccinated, I think is really important. So I appreciate the comments that you've all shared with how we're going to undertake that work. But if I recall correctly on that one slide, one was the heat map where the vaccination rates were based on census tract, and on the other side were the vaccination rates. And again, I think that despite some of the misses and the hard work that continues, we are doing extremely well, with 83% of seniors 65 and older being fully vaccinated, 72% of individuals 40 to 64 being fully vaccinated, and 60% of individuals 17 to 39 being fully vaccinated. Those are really good numbers. So I just want to thank all of our residents for listening to you, the health experts, listening to Dr. Fauci, President Biden, and everybody else who continues to preach the science. And so that is really why we're able to be outside, unmasked, seeing each other. I love seeing on social media, friends, neighbors hugging each other. It's Pride Month. It was so wonderful to see all of my colleagues and many of you last Tuesday as we raised the Pride flag, and we're all unmasked. That's where we're at right now. But just like with everything else, we need to continue doing better. There is more work to do. And so until we continue seeing the updates where certain census tracts in our community turn from red to green, that will be the real victory. And so we need to keep working towards that. So thank you for those efforts. And Dr. Gales, I hope you're having a good day off. You deserve it for sure. But the other doctors are here in your stead. And thank you all, and we'll continue this conversation. I yield back.
Thank you. Councilmember Rice.
Well, thank you very much, and I'll just be brief. Thank you. Thank you for all the great work that you've continued to do in getting us to where we have. And let me just reiterate again the paradigm shift. My daughter, who got her second shot, I guess it's been 2 weeks now ago, came to me and said, "Dad, you won't believe it. There were so many of my friends that were there when I went there to get my second shot and get vaccinated that I ran into." That speaks volumes as to how we've shifted in terms of people are now talking about this from a pride sense in terms of, yeah, this is cool. This is great. And I think that for us, quite honestly, it's not going to be more of what government can do. Now, at this point, it's what people can do. And so I implore, as Councilmember Jawando always says, for the millions that are watching at home, let's talk to each other about this. We know who our friends and family are who have been resistant to getting vaccinated. And they're primarily in our communities of color. When you look at that map, it's Montgomery Village, it's Gaithersburg, then you look at Silver Spring, Tacoma Park. I mean, we know who's in those communities. And we have friends and family in those communities. And so pick up the phone, reach out, send an email, say, hey, just saw some numbers and saw that, things are kind of low in terms of vaccination rates. Have you guys gotten vaccinated? It's okay to have that conversation and to have her say, look, it's not, and maybe you'll be able to answer a question. Maybe you'll be able to stave off some fears that they may have about getting the vaccine. And you can talk about your own experiences and your family's experiences, your children's experiences, and say it was fine. It's not a big deal. We haven't seen any complications. Everything's good. And now we have the ability to feel free in going and doing these kinds of things. My family and I went to a movie at a movie theater and sat down in a movie theater. We still had our masks on, but still, the point is that we actually saw a movie. I can't tell you how foreign that was for my mindset. But because now all of us are fully vaccinated, we felt comfortable in being able to do so. And this is the thing that I hope that folks will continue to talk about, because we know that we can get this done. We've already seen it in terms of its efficacy. And I want to remind folks, we still have other variants that are coming out there that are incredibly concerning. And so get vaccinated. Don't take a chance with your lives or your friends or family's lives. We all know, we don't have to reiterate about how many people we know have either gotten really sick or died from COVID. We all have our own personal stories, each and every one of us. Let's not add to that. Let's not add one more. Let's make sure that we can continue to push this along. We can get this done. And we can continue to lead the nation when it comes to some of these numbers, which Dr. Bridgers, wow, that's just amazing. 12 and over, leading the nation, that's tremendous. But we need to keep our foot on the gas pedal, knowing that there's still so many in our population who still aren't there yet, who represent that small contingency in terms of numbers, but important contingency in terms of what we know are the other aspects that are going on. Let me ask Dr. Stoddard, there's been a lot of conversation about additional vaccines, and I had asked a question before about what is going on regarding boosters. Has there been any talk about what that might mean for folks as we enter into the fall, which we know will be a much more likely area in which there's an increased possibility of contagions striking us, and what that may mean for us when it comes to boosters for all of the various vaccinations that folks have gotten?
Yeah, so there is no additional information at this point. None of the vaccine manufacturers have made any they've spoken off the cuff about the potential need for boosters, but they've given no official indication about what the timing of that would be, whether it's going to be indicated for certain populations and not all populations. That's not entirely clear at this point. Obviously, we are as we downsize, we're trying to keep in place some of the contracts and other infrastructure that would allow us to scale back up as necessary, with the obvious statement that we're hoping that the next round of this, whether that be the 5 to 11 or the boosters that may come later fall, winter, we don't know, they would be largely done through the existing apparatus that we're all more comfortable going to than a mass vaccination site. Now, obviously, we will have those pop-up opportunities, I'm sure, continuing through the summer into the fall for COVID vaccine, and we could integrate boosters into that as necessary. But obviously, people are just more comfortable going to the settings that they have gone to for years and years for flu and other vaccines, and we're hoping that the boosters go through a similar mechanism. So we're kind of paying attention. We're trying to make sure that we don't, demobilize to the point that we would be incapable of responding to the need to do vaccinations, while simultaneously continuing to advocate this be done through a more normal mechanism, given that it's going to be, even if there's a time frame after you're completed your earlier regimen that you're supposed to get your booster from, that will naturally stratify the population over when you would need a booster anyway. And so we're hopeful that would reduce the need to have some of these massive to scale sites in the fall, and we can just more do it through the traditional mechanism.
And Councilmember Rice, one thing I'd just like to add that came to mind in listening to Dr. Stoddard, as we look at scaling down and our targeting strategies, there's been some discussion and some information that Pfizer disseminated, and Dr. Gales has been in conversation with the Maryland Department of Health about doses. We're not getting doses because of shelf life. It came out, I had a conversation about Pfizer lasting more than a month, but Pfizer's dose can sit unopened, unconstituted for up to 45 days. And so as part of our strategy includes our dosing and looking at realistically what we need based on our current demand, what our community partners need based on demand and what we realistically can deploy, because ultimately we don't want to waste any doses. We want individuals to get vaccinated. We have the doses to continue to vaccinate through the summer, and we will continue to monitor that output. And I just wanted to share that.
Well, thank you very much to both of you. And I'll just close with this. I listen to the radio quite a bit. So whether it's 93.9, whether it's 95.5, 99.5, you guys are on every single one. And talking about MocoVax and talking about getting vaccinated. You guys are doing yeoman's job of trying to get the word out. And like I said, again, I think it's just going to take us as a community getting over that hump and making sure that we're reaching out. And I agree with what Councilmember Reamer said. You know, some of the community groups that we have, whether it's CASA, whether it's Identity, whether it's NAACP, all working together to try and get that word out to those last group of folks who, haven't availed themselves of the vaccine yet. We can get there. And I think it's going to take all of us. It's going to take that village to really make that happen. So looking forward to working with you guys to continue to get us over that hump. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Council Member. Any other comments from my colleagues? Seeing none. Thanks, Dr. Bridgers, Dr. Stoddard, for all your hard work. Dr. Gales, if you're listening in, and everybody on your team, we really appreciate all the progress. Look forward to your next update. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, colleagues, we can take up the consent calendar. Before we vote on the consent calendar, is there a motion to suspend the rules of procedure to allow immediate action on item 3J, which is a resolution acknowledging the election returns from the village of Drummond?
Move.
Councilmember Katz moves.
Second.
Councilmember Rice seconds. All those in favor of suspending the rules, please raise your hand. That is, now it's unanimous. Thank you.
Sorry.
No worries. I thought you were there. You made the motion.
Yeah, I sort of was there. Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Councilmember Rice moves.
Second.
Councilmember Reamer seconds. All those in favor of approving the consent calendar, please raise your hand. That's unanimous. All right, colleagues, good morning's work. And now we can break until we resume at 1:30. There will be another proclamation during the break to recognize Lyme Disease Awareness Month. Any council members who want to stay on may do so. That will be led by our Council Vice President. Thank you.
My watch says 11:30. Go ahead and get started. Ms. Skull, if you could, I'm not sure if you're able to bring your video up, but if you could do that now, that would be great.
There we go.
Terrific, terrific. You look terrific. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Well, good morning, colleagues. It is my honor and privilege to have the opportunity to recognize Lyme disease awareness. This particular proclamation is to recognize Lyme Disease Awareness Month, which was actually in May, but we are recognizing it now because of its significant importance. A trip to a park, a trip on a trail, playing in a backyard can have life-altering implications because in many ways of Lyme's disease. Lyme and tick-borne disease have been around for decades. However, little is still known about these life-altering illnesses, particularly how to properly diagnose, manage, and ultimately treat this challenge. In the United States, the Center for Disease Control estimates that approximately 475,000 new cases are confirmed each year, but this number may increase. Lyme disease bacterium, otherwise known as Borrelia bird Dufori, is spread through the bite of an infected tick and can attach to any part of the human body and cause Lyme disease. According to the Global Lyme Alliance, Lyme disease is a complex infection that can affect various systems in the body, including the joints, nervous system, heart, and skin. Many of us have loved ones or colleagues experiencing this extraordinary challenge. And it's just important to note that we are here for you, and this is something that we need to bring awareness to, not just in our community, but across this country. Unfortunately, without expanding a ring-like rash, which is the hallmark or the bullseye rash, Lyme and other tick-borne illnesses often go undiagnosed and untreated, leading to deep-seated infection and long-term impairments. Often known as the Great Intimidator, Lyme disease has more than 100 symptoms, which varies from person to person and emulates other illnesses, complicating diagnosis. Common symptoms such as fever, chills, headache, fatigue, muscle weakness, and in more severe cases, hearing loss, facial paralysis, and long-term heart implications can severely impact the quality of life for those suffering from this disease. Advocacy organizations such as National Capital Lyme Disease Association empower families across Maryland, DC, and Virginia and improve the quality of life for people suffering from Lyme disease and other tick-borne disease by providing education and support. We are very fortunate to have this morning joining us Ms. Monty Skull, who serves as the Executive Director of NatCap Lyme, to make some brief remarks this morning. Monty, if you could take it away, please.
Thank you very much for that nice introduction, Councilman Abernatz. I represent the National Capital Lyme Disease Association. I'm here today to say how grateful we are to both you and the Montgomery Council members for introducing the Lyme and tick-borne disease proclamation to raise public awareness about ticks and the diseases that they carry. As you mentioned before, Lyme disease is considered by the CDC to be the fastest growing vector-borne disease, infectious disease in the United States today. Close to 500,000 cases were reported by the CDC last year, and that was only considered to be 1/10 of the number of cases that we know occur on an annual basis. Years ago, I sat on a task force with Ike Leggett in your county, and then Olna Tillman, who was head of the health department, and we worked for over a year to come up with recommendations to the council to do for Lyme disease to create public awareness about this situation. At that time, the CDC was reporting 100,000 cases a year. Now they're reporting close to 500,000 cases. That shows you how this problem has expanded. And Maryland has not been spared from this epidemic. You are in the top 10 states across the country for reportable cases. And this is why our organization feels that greater public awareness of this disease fosters better prevention and early detection. I can't stress enough to you all how important early diagnosis is and early treatment. They are essential if you want to find a cure for this disease. So this proclamation that you are introducing today will benefit your citizens of Montgomery County. This measure, why? Because this measure creates an official recognition of the problem still. It encourages Marylanders to learn about these diseases, to take tick-borne diseases seriously, to use aggressive prevention measures, and to seek early treatment. And again, early treatment is key. So on behalf of all the residents of Montgomery County that are affected by tick-borne disease, NatCap Lyme gratefully acknowledges the Montgomery Council for its effort to bring awareness and to the ticks and the diseases they carry, so that Montgomery County residents will know how to properly protect themselves so that they don't get sick from the bite of a tick. So we thank you all very, very much. We're so grateful. And you might consider in the future, having another task force, because the problem has grown substantially. And we call ourselves the voice for Lyme disease. You can see that in back of me, as you are, Councilman Abernatz, the voice for the voiceless. We are the voice for Lyme and tick-borne diseases. So we are here to do everything we can to help you get the message out to your residents. So thank you very, very much.
Monty, that was extraordinarily well said, and I think you're right. We should follow up on that great work. I had the opportunity to work with Dr. Tillman personally in the previous administration. Huge loss on so many levels, and I remember her leadership on this issue, so I'd like to take up that torch again. Thank you for that. All right, we're going to read the proclamation now. Proclamation of the Montgomery County Council. Whereas Lyme and tick-borne disease are multi-stage, multi-systemic illnesses and have become one of the fastest growing vector-borne infectious diseases in the United States and across the globe. It is estimated that approximately 476,000 new cases are diagnosed each year, and in 2019, 135 Lyme cases have been identified in Montgomery County. However, this local statistic may increase due to the unknown complexities of this disease and inaccurate testing. And whereas, according to the Center for Disease Control, Lyme disease bacterium, otherwise known as Borrelia burgdorferi, is spread through the bite of an infected tick and can attach to any part of the human body, often found in hard-to-see areas such as the groin, armpits, and scalp. And whereas Lyme and tick-borne disease are also exacerbated by climate change, the Environmental and Protection Agency has found that warming temperatures associated with climate change are projected to increase the range of suitable tick habits and are therefore one of the multiple factors driving the observed spread of Lyme disease. And whereas proper diagnosis is vital. If diagnosed and treated early, many patients recover. However, if this infection is not diagnosed or treated early, Lyme disease can develop into a chronic illness that leads to long-term serious health problems, reduced quality of life. In rare cases, Lyme disease can result in death. And whereas by practicing good tick bite prevention habits, by wearing light-colored clothing, such as well as long pants, long sleeves, high socks, and closed-toe shoes when visiting wooded areas, applying EPA-approved tick repellent, and examining yourself and your pets, which is very important, for ticks daily. These are the best ways to prevent Lyme disease and other tick-borne illnesses. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Montgomery County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland, hereby recognizes Lyme and tick-borne disease awareness. And be it further resolved that the County Council reaffirms its commitment to promote public health and environmental sustainability in partnership with our local, state, and federal partners to ensure the well-being of our county residents directly impacted by Lyme and tick-borne diseases. Presented this 15th day of 15th day of June in the year 2021, and this is signed by myself and our council president, Tom Hucker. Monty, thank you. Keep up the great work, and I look forward to following up with you on your suggestions and recommendations.
Thank you.
Take care.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that adjourns our proclamation for this during recess, and we will come back for our afternoon session at 1:30. Thanks so much, everybody.